Should people make New Year's resolutions?
People should make New Year's resolutions if they're actually watching this video on January 1st. If they're watching it on December 23rd, they should make December 23rd resolutions. Waiting miraculously to when the calendar flips to start making your life better is silly at best and pisses me off at worst. And so whenever you're watching this, because it lives on the internet, and thus that means you could watch this on June 17th, make a resolution every day of your life because you only get one at bat. The reason people struggle with having a New Year's resolution and sticking to it is because it was a tactic to do a New Year's resolution. Hence why my first answer was right, which is when you actually decide to make a change in your life, whether about weight or job or going out with somebody or relationships, that's when you actually pull it off. It's religion, not tactics.
Statistics show that 95% of the people that actually made a New Year's resolution have already broken it by today. And that's if you even made a resolution. I mean, think about it. Most people don't even make a resolution anymore. Why? Because they've made them from years and years and years, and they know they're not going to follow through. So after a while, who wants to disappoint yourself? Who wants to be upset with yourself? Why even bother to set a new standard for this year? You know it's going to be the same as last year. So the question is, what is it that makes us even want to make a resolution? I mean, it's an interesting question. Why is it at the beginning of a year we have this tradition, but it goes beyond tradition. It's something inside of us that makes us want to make things better. And I think part of it is the calendar gives us this idea that we could have a fresh start, that we could start from fresh and have this great victory. Let's use the calendar to serve you today. Let's just see, what does it really take to make this thing happen? Because there's no denying that inside of you, the only thing that's going to make you happy in the year ahead and the decades ahead is going to be having you have an experience where on a regular basis, you feel like your life is making progress. So the secret to real happiness is progress. Progress equals happiness, and if we can make progress on a regular basis, we feel alive. And that's why at the beginning of the year, we get this thing like, okay, I can have this fresh start. I could really do what my soul desires. I could expand, I could grow, I could improve, I could change. Or maybe better than change, I could progress. So if you want to make real progress, then you really got to look at your life in a different way. You got to say, I got to take control of this process and not just hope it's going to work out like people do who make a resolution. Because really, isn't that what they're really doing at the beginning of the year? They're saying, well, here's my resolutions for the year, and they really basically tell you their wishes. It's their wish list. It's what they hope it all comes together. And then they call it a resolution, but they don't know what a resolution is. When you resolve something, to have a resolution is to resolve it. When you've resolved, this is how it's going to be. That's when you cut off any possibility except the thing you've committed to.
Make a resolution every day of your life because you only get one at bat.
Most people, they're stating what they hope will come together, and if it doesn't happen, then they're disappointed, but they're not too disappointed because they're not too vested. What does it take to successfully create a lasting change in your life? To not only have a New Year's resolution you follow through on, but really have a lasting change? Well, the first step for lasting change is very much like making a New Year's resolution. Fundamentally, it's the same. The first step is you got to have a vision for what it is you really, truly want. I mean, what are most people's New Year's resolutions? I'm going to stop eating sugar. I'm going to stop smoking. I'm going to lose 10 pounds. The problem with that is it's not very inspiring for most people. It's not telling you what you're going to get. It's only what you're not going to do. And it's kind of hard to have you move forward with that. A vision is about what you're here to create. A vision that really works is one that excites you. If you say, well, my resolution, my goal, my outcome for this month, this week, this year is to lose X number of pounds, that's okay, but it's not very compelling. It has to be a compelling vision. It's got to have something that has the power to pull you, not something you have to push yourself to do. Those are two different kinds of motivation. Push requires willpower, and willpower never lasts. What will last is pull. Having something so exciting, so attractive, something you desire so much that you have a hard time going to sleep at night and you get so up early in the morning to rock it and take it to the next level. That's what you're looking to create. And that isn't easy to get. And the bottom line of our follow-through comes down to our emotional intensity. You got to have strong enough reasons that you're going to follow through when the going gets tough. They don't have strong enough reasons to push themselves through what's going to be necessary to get that dream, to get that goal, when the inevitable challenges come up, when you're starving, hungry, and you're trying to go on a diet, right? When you got no time and you're stressed out and you haven't worked out still, and that's what you're supposed to do. When the economy gets tight and what you thought you were going to do doesn't work, and so you give up on the goal instead of finding another way to get there. You don't let the fear take you over if you've got strong enough reasons. Reasons come first, answers come second. If you get a compelling vision and you got strong enough reasons that will push you through the tough times, you're going to do things other people don't do. Instead of collapsing, even if you get off target, you won't go, oh, I blew it. You'll get right back on target, make the change, make things happen.
We do our best when our destinations are beyond the measurement, when our reach continually exceeds our grasp, and when we have immortal finish lines. And when we do this, the race is never over. The journey has no port. The adventure never ends because we are always on the way. So do this, and let somebody else come up and tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, you scored. Let them run up and tap you on the shoulder and say, man, you won. Let them come tell you, you can go home now. Let them say, I love you too. Let them say, thank you. Take the lid off the man-made roofs that we put above ourselves and always play like an underdog.
When you really get clear and it's compelling and you're reviewing it every day, you've got strong reasons and you're reviewing it every day and you're feeling it, the brain becomes incredibly acute at noticing anything to get you to move forward. You know, what do people do with a New Year's resolution? They come up with something they kind of want. It's not a compelling vision. They don't really have strong enough reasons, and they never review it again until they notice that they broke what they said they really want to have make happen, because they didn't really resolve. If you resolve, you got the vision, it's compelling, you review it daily, and you feel it, you envision it, and you experience it. Simple as it sounds. Now, ultimately, what is this really about? Ultimately, if you're going to have lasting change in anything, you're really talking about just raising your standards. Raise your standards. And what does that mean? Corny as it sounds. Raise your standards. Oh, thank you for the breakthrough thought, Tony. Lasting change is different than a goal. You don't always get your goals, but you always get your standards. But when you decide something is a must for you, an absolute must, when you cut off any possible, you say, I'm going to find the way or I'm going to make the way. Human beings, when they resolve things, when they make a real resolution inside themselves, which is they raise the standard and they make it a must, they find the way. If you said to me, well, I'm really going to work hard to stop smoking, but I've been a smoker my whole life and I am a smoker. I know your days are numbered. You're going to be back smoking cigarettes again, because we all act consistent with who we believe we are. I tell people the strongest force in the whole human personality is this need to stay consistent with how we define ourselves. If you define yourself as somebody who is really conservative, you're not going to be crazy and act nuts unless you're really drunk or something, and then you can say it's the alcohol, when it's really just you finally getting permission to be yourself. The alcohol is your excuse. If you're a really crazy person, you act crazy, outrageous, playful. You don't act conservative because that's not who you are. Very often people say, well, I can't do that. I'm not that kind of person. And I always say to people, really, when did you define yourself? I mean, very often we made decisions in our youth or very young about what to believe, about what we were capable of, about who we are as a person, and that becomes the glass ceiling, if you will, that controls us. Willpower doesn't last, but rituals can last a lifetime. I bet you have some rituals in your life right now you've been doing for years, even though some of them don't serve you. I'm just saying, wake yourself up. If you want a new year and a new life, you don't need to start on January 1st. Start today. Start with this little video. Listen, how's your new year coming out so far? When did you define yourself? I mean, really, how many years ago did you come up with what you could and couldn't do in your life? How many years ago? Most people, if they really look at how they're living their life today, it's based on a set of standards, a set of beliefs that they made choices about 10, 20, 30 or more years ago.
This is it. The day you've been waiting for. I know you're nervous. So am I. My first game too. Now it's time to go out there and put it on the scoreboard. Now it's time to see who has the heart. Now is the time to prove to yourselves and prove to everyone out there that even though you're locked up, you're somebody. You are worthy of something. And you're able to do something special that no one else in the world can do. Ready to go out there and take what's yours. Yeah! What you've worked hard for. Yeah! But one thing that a lot of people don't know that I want to share with you guys is when I was 22 years old, I came to this city for the first time. I was playing in the Canadian Football League, playing my first pro football game. I was playing for the Calgary Stampeders. We were playing the BC Lions. I was so excited. 2 days later, I got cut. The dream shattered, sent home with $7 in my pocket. I was like, wait, no, I gotta play in the NFL eventually. Those are my big goals. That's my dream. You realize that playing in the NFL was the best thing that never happened because it got me here. So my point is, look, you're gonna get your ass kicked. We're gonna get the shit kicked out of us. You gotta get up. You gotta have faith that the one thing you wanted to happen oftentimes is the best thing that never happened. So have faith and just keep that in mind and keep plugging away. Can't play football forever. I played for 10 years. You can't be in the ring forever. You can't be in the octagon forever. You can't be in a boxing ring forever or a football field, but you can always train and get better and push yourself.
Just bring it. That's it. Just bring it. I say that in my everyday life in terms of my challenges and things like that.
Okay, in between sets, as I'm working out, and as I often do in between sets, I slide into your comment section nice and I read your comments just so we can stay connected, and I always know what's on your mind and I can address it. So somebody just asked me a cool question, said, DJ, you're on top, where could you possibly go from here? And you always talk about outworking your competition. Who's your competition? It's a great question. Thank you for the compliment, by the way. I'm fortunate enough to be on top, but anytime you reach the top, you always want to make sure that you have the desire to raise the bar and take the brass ring to places it's never been. That's the key with being on top. Just because it's never been done doesn't mean it can't be done. And in terms of competition, great question. Everyone's my competition, but a fundamental key that I've learned over the years is, and I'll share it with you, my number one competition is me. It's always you versus you. You got to be the one to get up every morning, be disciplined, put in the consistent daily hard work, because that gains success. No coach, no trainer, no mentor, no boss can do it. You versus you. Double.
I knew I wanted to be something, and it was important to me to be something. It was important to me that I didn't fail. But by the way, and if I did fail, at least what was also important was the lesson. And I didn't realize that until I got older, because you know, when you're in it, you're in the grind, you don't really recognize those things when you're younger, but I could recognize them now and the importance of them now. And just in terms of the drive and the determination, a lot of it was experience too. You get your ass kicked, you get back up, and you put the gloves back on and you swing away.
All right, Saturday afternoon, empty gym, the way we like it, tripping over here. It's leg day, which means it's gonna be sweaty, painful, and fun. They say that nothing good happens in the 4 a.m. hour. Well, I can guarantee you this, it's 4:45 a.m., it's still dark outside. Look at that, the lights just went out, and I'm getting ready to kill this AM cardio.
Train twice. I'll get my cardio in and breakfast, and then I'll go hit the weights. Clanging and banging, we call it.
You know, the masters make the hardest things in the world look easiest. And in the moments where you push yourself, when no one else is around, those moments have a tendency to lead to success. Oftentimes when I see kids and they have been labeled, oh, they're punk kids. True. But there's good in them. And we got to see that potential. And I enjoy that today, seeing the potential in kids just like he did. Especially kids who are kind of wayward and have been going through it. I know what it's like. Our most powerful and most important is when we just embrace who we are. It's just believing in yourself and, and embracing who you were born to be. Whether it's 3 o'clock in the morning, by the way, when we were talking in London, I was getting up at 3 because I had to be on set by 4. So whatever time my call time is, those and directors and our producers, whatever time my call time, so my call time is at 7, then you back your clock up 4 hours, and then that's when I get up and train twice. Just wrap that 4 a.m. cardio. There's no substitute for hard work. I get up super early. Generally, I have this thing where I like beating the sun up, not just in terms of before the sun comes up, I have to get up. And how do I do it? It's just important to find balance, and I try and do things really that I really enjoy doing. And a lot of times, you know, it's like in life, right? Life brings like drama, and you got to deal with this person, and a funky relationship here, and all these things. Work 12 hours a day, 14 hours a day, get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't know if there's a golden rule. I can tell you this, that I believe anything is possible, right? I live in the world of possibility. And I also believe that we can accomplish anything with our 2 hands and just putting in the work with our 2 hands. And also, you hear this often, but it's really, really true. You gotta find something, if you love what you do and be passionate about what you do and find something that you can be passionate like, it really helps. You know, it gives you that motivation when you wake up in the morning.
Consistently being told that whatever it is that you want to do, you've got to get after it. You got to get after it. There's no substitute for hard work. Hard work always pays. You know, those type of mantras over time. And those are your examples of you know what it's like to get beat down, what it's like to get just in terms of the struggle, what it's like to be evicted out of your apartment, what it's like to have your car repossessed, and watch your parents go through that is I think is defining as a kid.
You know, I grew up, there was a period of time where I was making a lot of mistakes, David. I was getting arrested multiple times. By the time I was 16, I was arrested maybe 7 or 8 times, fighting theft, doing a lot of things that I shouldn't have been doing. I was really lucky that I had a couple of people who, along with my parents, who saw the potential in me even when I didn't see the potential in me. And it wasn't until I got older, had a little bit of luck, a little bit of success, that I started to understand the value and the power of someone giving back.
Some people call you the best pure athlete in wrestling today. Let's start off with a bit of your history. When you broke in, you were packaged as a part of a wrestling legacy. Your father is Rocky Johnson, or Sweet Ebony Diamond, as Canadian fans know him. Tony Atlas was a family friend, all kinds of family roots. Were you ever concerned that you wouldn't get your chance to prove yourself on your own terms?
No. I was never ever concerned about that, because nor was I ever concerned about trying to fill their shoes, because my dad's, they were just too big, you know, my grandfather as well. But at the same time, I always knew that one day, whenever I got the opportunity, I was just going to make it happen. Persistence and hard work. I knew one day it was going to happen. When I made up my mind to get involved in the business that I have a passion for, that I grew up in, I knew that there's going to be a time where the success will come. And that's through hard work and consistency. It's you know, the same old story, things like that. So it's surprising to a degree, but I was well aware that it was going to happen.
We live in a world of illusion.
Most people never pick up the phone and call. Most people never ask. And that's what separates sometimes the people that do things from the people that just dream about them. You gotta act. And you've got to be willing to fail. You've got to be willing to crash and burn. You know, with people on the phone, with starting a company, with whatever. If you're afraid of failing, you won't get very far.
Always better to show something as opposed to talking about it.
Did Leonardo have a guy off to the side that was thinking 5 years out in the future what he would paint or the technology he would use to paint it? Of course not. Leonardo was the artist, but he also mixed all his own paints.
I think you should go get a job as a busboy or something until you find something you're really passionate about, because it's a lot of work. And I'm convinced that about half of what separates the successful entrepreneurs from the non-successful ones is pure perseverance. It is so hard. You pour so much of your life into this thing. There are such rough moments in time that most people give up.
We live in a world of illusion, where you see things that you think are real. Sometimes they are, and sometimes they're not. But what is really real that we're going to talk about now is to imagine your own power. The majority of people wait for the masses to do something. When the masses do something, they join in and they join on board. But they forget that the masses are made up of individuals. Those individuals, each in his own, is extremely powerful. It's all about imagining and doing, believing in yourself, but know how it works.
Know exactly what something costs to the second. So in business, a lot of things are, I call it folklore. They're done because they were done yesterday and the day before.
A lot of times, you know, when you have to walk 1,000 miles and you take the first step, it looks like a long ways. And it really helps if there's someone there saying, well, we're one step closer. You know, the goal definitely exists. It's not just a mirage out there.
If humans can imagine doing what you have to do when nobody is watching you, you're doing as if someone is right there watching you. And in your free time, you're not trying to elongate something. You're doing what you should do without people watching you do it.
As you look toward the future, if you decided, I'm not going to allow my fears to stop me, what would your life be like? What would your future be like if you decided to want that which you desire so strongly that it prepares you past your fears, that you experience the fear, as the one book says, feel the fear and do it anyway? What would your life be like? And I'm saying to you that all of us who have been entombed by fear have the capacity to resurrect ourselves.
I always tell people who are, who think they want to be entrepreneurs, you need a combination of stubborn relentlessness and flexibility. And you have to know when to be which. And basically you need to be stubborn on your vision, because otherwise it'll be too easy to give up. But you need to be very flexible on the details, because as you go along pursuing your vision, you'll find that some of your preconceptions were wrong. And you're going to need to be able to change those things.
For you to find greatness in yourself, you're not going to find it by looking in a book or by even hearing me. I may give you the spark, but you've got to go inside yourself to find it. And that means you got to be quiet. Shut the fuck up, go in a room, stop talking, search your soul, search your mind, search your abilities, and you'll find it. But if you're not looking for it, you won't find it. So you got to go start your journey. And the journey starts with you finding, why the hell am I here on this planet Earth? Why am I here? And if you don't know that, you will live the rest of your life searching, always asking the question, why?
When you get up in the morning, you do what you normally do. I would venture to say a lot of you here probably turn on your cell phones, your computers, and what's the latest email, what's the latest text that comes in. You start your day off like that. That's your mindset. Try this. Get up in the morning, do whatever you have to do. Don't turn the computer on. Don't turn the TV on.
Say together, you gotta be hungry. He said, people that are hungry are willing to do the things today others won't do in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have. He said, people that are hungry are relentless. People that are hungry are unstoppable. People that are hungry refuse to give up. People that are hungry, no excuse is acceptable for not making their dream become a reality. He said, I'm hungry, sir.
And that's when I realized that there's two ways to see the world. Some people see the thing that they want, and some people see the thing that prevents them from getting the thing that they want.
There's time, there's performance, there's financial. I mean, there's deadlines. My pressures are not unique. The situations may be different, or but everybody has the same kinds of pressures. But what I found, or what I find fascinating, is the interpretation of the stimuli.
You have to be just as enthusiastic on door number 101 as you were on door number 100. Just as enthusiastic. So you have to imagine yourself in this frame of mind. What can we do collectively to create that change and that imagination immediately? It's all in the mindset.
In order to be successful, you got to be hungry. You got to be willing to do the things today others won't do. Are you willing to do that to be successful?
Imagine what you could do, but imagine that you can do it right now. And how do you do these things right now? What are some of the lessons that we go through to do things right now? Many times in entrepreneurship, people say, what are the secrets to success? Whether you're working at a job that you just love and you don't want to be the boss, or you want to start something on your own, what are the secrets? I share two things. Imagine these because they're going to happen. One, be prepared for a lot of rejection. Whether people close the door in your face or tell you it's never going to happen, you can't do it, you're too old, you don't have the education, you don't have what it takes, somebody else did it, don't listen to them. Don't let it affect you. If you're prepared for rejection, when it happens, it's not going to affect you that much. It really won't, because you're prepared for it. Of course, I was prepared for it.
Interpretation of what's happening in their bodies. I mean, what happens when you're nervous, right? Your heart rate starts to go, you sort of get a little tense, you get a little sweaty, right? You have expectation of what's coming, and we interpret that as, I'm nervous. Now, what's the interpretation of excited? Your heart rate starts to go, you're anticipating what's coming, right? You get a little sort of like tense. It's all the same thing, it's the same stimuli, except these athletes, these Olympic quality athletes, have learned to interpret the stimuli that the rest of us would say is nervous as excited. They all say the same thing. No, I'm not nervous, I'm excited. And so I've actually practiced it just to tell myself when I start to get nervous that this is excitement, you know? And so I used to speak in front of a large audience and somebody'd say, how do you feel? I used to say, a little nervous. Now when somebody says, how do you feel? I'm like, really excited actually. And it came from just sort of telling myself, no, this is excitement. And it becomes a little bit automatic later on.
That if you're doing what no one has done before, stuff goes wrong. And in fact, if nothing ever goes wrong in what you're doing, if you make no mistakes in your job, in whatever task you've brought upon yourself, then you're not on the frontier. Simple.
You've got some goals that you want to achieve. There's some things that you want to do. And you've said to yourself, I'm willing to face the no's. You've said to yourself, I'm willing for people to laugh at me. You said to yourself, I'm willing to gut this out. You said to yourself, I'm willing to make this happen. You said to yourself, I'm going to do whatever it takes to build this business. I can do it. If anybody's ever done it at any point in time in history, then what's possible for one, it's possible for me. And I'm going to do it. It's my time. It's possible. It's necessary. It's me. It's hard. It's worth it. When the tough times come, and they're going to come, when you feel like you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, and that's a part of the process, your reasons will be your rod and staff to comfort you, to take you through the storms of life. The most important investment you can make is in yourself. You are your most treasured asset.
Sometimes you're the problem.
He said you got to be hungry. Go back again. If you do what is easy, your life will be hard. But if you do what is hard, your life will be easy. People that are hungry believe what Zig said when he said, if you give enough people what they want, they will give you what you want.
People that are hungry believe always strive to get on top in life because it's the bottom that's overcrowded. People that are hungry are uncommon people. They are say yes to their dreams. They say yes to an opportunity where they can develop their entrepreneurial skills, where they can develop their mind and their leadership skills, where they can become versatile and flexible and create and build a business they can be proud of. People that are hungry have a vision of themselves when they leave here, leaving a legacy and not liabilities. People that are hungry understand that most people die at age 25 and don't get buried till they're 65 because they're not willing to take a chance on themselves. People that are hungry are a rare breed. They're risk takers. I don't know what you want to do. Seemed like yesterday when I was the new kid on the block.
You want the future to change for you, you've got to change. But if you don't change, the next 6 years of your life is going to be just like the last 6.
I can't explain why I shine and no one else shines. I think everybody shines in different things.
You can't be alone. To really succeed, no man really is an island.
See, everybody was born for purpose.
Times of stress are also times that are signals for growth. And if we use adversity properly, we can grow through adversity.
The purpose of my life had always been to free people from concern.
I failed so far beyond my wildest nightmares of failing. And after that, I was fearless.
I just can't live my life based upon what other people think about me.
Where I excel is sickening work ethic.
The one thing they all have in common, I think, is they're hungry. I believe that's the single most important element that separates the quality of people's lives.
What do you desire? What makes you itch? What sort of a situation would you like? Let's suppose, I do this often in vocational guidance of students. They come to me and say, well, we're getting out of college and we haven't the faintest idea what we want to do. So I always ask the question, what would you like to do if money were no object? How would you really enjoy spending your life? Well, it's so amazing. As a result of our kind of educational system, crowds of students say, well, we'd like to be painters, we'd like to be poets, we'd like to be writers, but as everybody knows, you can't earn any money that way. Or another person says, well, I'd like to live an out-of-doors life and ride horses. I say, do you want to teach in a riding school? Let's go through with it. What do you want to do? When we finally got down to something which the individual says he really wants to do, I will say to him, you do that. And forget the money. Because if you say that getting the money is the most important thing, you will spend your life completely wasting your time. You'll be doing things you don't like doing in order to go on living, that is, to go on doing things you don't like doing, which is stupid. Better to have a short life that is full of what you like doing than a long life spent in a miserable way.
Greatness is not this wonderful, esoteric, elusive, God-like feature that only the special among us will ever taste. You know, it's something that truly exists in all of us. It's very simple. This is what I believe, and I'm willing to die for it. Period.
It's not just the ability to have hunger, but to sustain it. Hunger means that you want more. You want more of yourself. You want to make a bigger difference. You want to be a better parent. You want to do something more than there is today, and that you don't get satisfied. Most people start out with hunger at an early stage of life and they lose it. But the people that come to me are hungry either because something's happened, they've had a birthday with a 0 on it, they've gone through a divorce, they're starting a business and they know I've got to have a different level. or they're the best in the world and they're always looking for that edge that makes the difference.
But it's absolutely stupid to spend your time doing things you don't like in order to go on spending things you don't like, doing things you don't like, and to teach your children to follow in the same track.
My father could have been a great comedian, but he didn't believe that that was possible for him. And so he made a conservative choice. Instead, he got a safe job as an accountant. And when I was 12 years old, he was let go from that safe job. And our family had to do whatever we could to survive. I learned many great lessons from my father, not the least of which was that you can fail at what you don't want. So you might as well take a chance on doing what you love.
We didn't grow up with the sense that where we were was where we were going to be. You know, we grew up with the sense that where we were almost didn't matter because we were becoming something greater.
The decisions we make control us much more than the conditions we meet. It's not the conditions, it's your decisions. Decisions what to believe, decisions what to do, decisions what to give. That if you would have made a different decision, you'd have a totally different life today.
Life goes on with or without you, and how you use your time is really important because your life matters. It's not for nothing, it matters for a lot, and it matters to a lot of people. And you know, we spend so much time giving attention to the silly, stupid, and superficial stuff, and we take for granted so much that every day we're just going to wake up and we're going to go through the same routines and get to see the same people. They're going to be there when we come home at night, and every day is just going to be like the other. But right now, even as I'm recording this video, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of people all over the world who are just now getting noticed that you know, somebody that they care about or somebody that they knew their life has been taken by surprise, unexpectedly, by some accident or heart attack or something like that. None of us know how long we're going to be here. So it's a moment to take pause and think about your life and what you do with your time, and to not only to concentrate on making the best of your life, but to also make your life meaningful in the most important ways.
I think everybody is born with hunger. Like there's a desire to grow, to expand, to learn, and then disappointment sets in early in life for most people. And then we look to blame something outside of ourselves. And there are many events in our lives that can affect us all. We've all had pain and challenges. But I think if you can find within yourself the part of you that wants to constantly give something more than yourself, if you can find a mission larger than yourself, then you're more pulled to do something than trying to push yourself. And pull has much more power than push. I always say motive does matter. That if your motive is to serve something greater, there is an energy that comes up inside of you.
The wise man is he who knows his life purpose. 10 people with the knowledge of the purpose are more powerful than 1,000 without the purpose.
Courage. Courage is the key to life itself. There are a lot of people who are born in situations where they say, well, I'll never get out of this. So they won't. I say to people who say, well, I would like to have done so and so and so. So you could have done it. So, but I couldn't get out of here. Man, the bus runs every day.
But what the hell is success? It's hitting an expectation. And I always tell people, man, trade your expectations for appreciation, and it's a whole new world instantly. Yeah. If you can appreciate this moment, if you can't find ecstasy in this moment, in a conversation with a friend, and looking in your wife's eyes, being with your children, going on a run, if you can't find ecstasy now, I'm here to tell you, more money, more people, more love, more business, more anything is not going to give you more ecstasy. If you can't do it here now, you're not going to do it there when you got more. So why not do it now and have a rich life right now? Money, that's one thing. Like having financial abundance, there's skills, that's a science. But wealth, it's a decision. It's like you can be wealthy right now. I live in Fiji a good portion of the time. There are these villagers there. They're the richest people I know. They're happy, they laugh, they love, they don't give a damn about the economics. Other people say they're poor, When I first went there, I was trying to do things for them. They're like, what are you talking about? I'm so happy. Wealthy people come over from the United States and they go travel around and try to figure out what to do, and they're gonna spend 9 years to do this and this and this so they can finally sit down and be happy. And the Fijian guy goes, why don't you sit on the beach right now, dude, and experience it? Why spend the 9 years? Why not have it now? That's my invitation.
See, what we're doing is we're bringing up children and educating them to live the same sort of lives we're living, in order that they may justify themselves and find satisfaction in life by bringing up their children, to bring up their children to do the same thing, so it's all retch and no vomit. It never gets there. And so, therefore, it's so important to consider this question: what do I desire? Well, when we answer that question in a naive way, we figure out that we want to desire, what we want is to control everything. To create girls that don't grow old, apples that don't rot, clothes that never wear out, conveyances that get from one place to another instantly so we don't have to wait, power available to do anything that you could conceive and do it just instantly like that. To get this funny technological omnipotence. But if you take time out to think about that and really go into it with your full strength of imagination and find out whether that's where you want to be, you will soon see that's not what you want. Because the moment you have a situation where you are really in control of things, that is to say, in which the future is almost completely predictable. You will see, as said last night, that a completely predictable future is already the past. You've had it. That's not what you want. You want a surprise.
An insurgent had seen where they were firing, had snuck up next to the side of that building, pulled out a hand grenade, pulled it, and threw it up, and that thing came right up, boom, and hit Mike on the chest. Mike screamed, "Grenade out!" and jumped on it, and boom!
What do they teach us about a life well lived? I've noticed that the highest achievers aren't just driven, they're doing jobs so aligned with their passions that they have energy and inspiration to burn. Keep that in mind as you set your courses.
Once you think to yourself, what would you do? Petty Officer Mike Monsoor took the entirety of that blast in his face and his chest. Now, because Mike was such a hard individual, he lasted for another 35 minutes before he passed away on the medevac route. Now, the kicker to this story, ladies and gentlemen, okay? Please listen. The kicker to this story is there was a stairwell right next to Mike, right next to him.
What we do determine completely is the way we treat the people in our lives. And in my experience, that also has immeasurably greater bearing on how we feel at the close of each day and at the curtain of each year. Within most of us, there's a conscience that's only at peace when we've behaved honorably and compassionately.
All he had to do was jump down that stairwell to save his own life, but he didn't. He turned and jumped on the grenade, sacrificing himself so his two brothers could both go home and hug their wives, kiss their children, and fight another day. Now I ask you, does that change your definition of commitment a little bit? It has to, right? You can't not hear that story and not start thinking about, well, maybe I'm not defining commitment in the way I need to. Maybe I'm not applying the right energy.
What are your values? Because a lot of people will tell you what they think success is, but you have to define that for yourself. And once you define that for yourself, you can then begin your true vocation, your God-given purpose.
The tightest knots in my stomach come from the realization that I've been unkind, and the highest swells of my spirit come from the conviction that I've been tender and true.
For the past 20 years, I have been exploring the human condition around the world. But in that time, I spent 15 months in the frigid waters of the Pacific Ocean, to the mountains of Afghanistan on 7 different occasions, and to the shores of Haiti doing missionary work with my church. And what I've learned in this incredible journey are a few undeniable truths about what enables us to succeed. Now, truth number 1 is you got fear in your heart always, and you can't defeat it. The problem is, ladies and gentlemen, is you're wired for fear, right? You've got fear that's built into your little gray matter right up there like that, okay? In your gray matter, you've got this thing called the amygdala. And this amygdala is your fight or flight. So unless you remove that, you're gonna have fear in your life, period. And we need it for survival. It's a good thing. The other challenge is you've been taught fear your whole life as well, too. We have that. It's part of our lives. We have it in what we do for a living, right? You guys get on your conference huddle calls and you talk about fear and dealing with clients. You talk about fear and meeting numbers. You talk about fear in your lives and your personal lives with your family. Folks, we've got fear, period. So what you have to learn to do is embrace it. Truth 1. The second one is self-confidence is really important. Self-confidence is huge, it's important, and you gotta forge it every single day. The third one is you gotta live with purpose. If you don't have purpose in your life, you don't have momentum. You don't have anything driving you forward, anything pulling you out of bed every single day. You gotta understand, who am I, why am I here, and what is my reason for living?
My mom and my dad were the biggest influences in my life. No one supported my athletic career more than he did. I got drafted to play baseball on June 8th, 2010. And the next night, my dad passed away. Before I walk through the door, I can see the EKG moving just fine. I take one step into the door and I say, "Dad, I'm here." The line goes flat. I miss my dad every single day. People have asked me, if I had 5 more minutes with him, what would I say to him? But I wouldn't say anything at all. I'd just hug him. That's what I'd do. Because that's the kind of relationship my dad and I had. He gave me so much, and maybe most of all, he gave me the gift of perspective. Losing him was hard, but thinking about him now, I don't feel sad. I feel blessed. I feel blessed for all the days we got together. I feel blessed because I know he's in a better place. And I feel blessed knowing that if he were here today, the thing that he'd most be proud of isn't a Super Bowl ring or a new contract or a big speech at Camp Randall. He'd be proud of my family, what a strong woman my mom is, about my brother and how well he's doing, about the amazing, amazing young woman my sister has become. That's what he'd be proud of. So that's my third charge to the graduates. And maybe it's the hardest one of them all. When life tells you no, find a way to keep things in perspective. That doesn't make the painful moments any less painful, but it does mean you don't have to live forever in the pain. You don't have to live forever in that no. Because if you know what you're capable of, if you're always prepared and you keep things in perspective, then life has a way of turning a no into yes.
We all bleed red. What I care about is there's something that gets you out of bed every morning. There's something that you have faith in that's bigger than yourself. There's something that you're willing to sacrifice for another human being. That's powerful. Are you working on it? Are you working on it right now? Did you work on it today? Are you going to go work on it tonight?
The question isn't whether you have something to offer to the world. You definitely have something to offer to the world. The question is how and whether you'll do it. When life tells you no, stay ready. Always be ready.
The fact is, we've been quitting for a long time, folks. The problem is, I hope nobody has these grand quits in their life that they regret. But the reality is, we all quit, a little bit every day. What you have to start doing is pulling those back a little bit, trimming them away and get rid of them. Whether you want a teammate needs your help, or you're going to be more positive when you interact with them, or they're looking for help and you don't tell them, well, I'm just too busy, I'll get back to you tomorrow. Those are forms of quitting. And that's not commitment to your team.
When you think about what's actually important in the world, when you're going out to pursue your vocation, is who are you? Who do you want to be? And who can you help along the way? Asking yourself these questions will only help you to understand what you want to do.
Now, if my dad were here with us, this is the point where he'd remind us that potential just means we haven't done it yet. You know, he'd be right. But if we do what we need to when life tells us no, if we know what we're capable of, if we stay prepared no matter what, if we keep our sense of perspective even when times are tough, then I know that together we're going to do amazing things with our potential and achieve our greatest dreams. I would say good luck, but I don't believe in good luck. Go make it happen. This is my story. Now it's time to write your own.